Greetings, Malifaux fans. This is Crazy Carl from the Weird Forums, back with another Malifaux video. We were playing Share Destroy the Evidence as Resurrectionists, which was me, versus the Arcanists, which was Chris. Chris has been playing Arcanist a lot, and I've been playing Rezzers a lot because I just really love the Rezzers a lot. There's nothing I dislike about any of them, with the exception of maybe Seamus because he's a little underpowered. So obviously that means I would play Seamus for this scenario, which is what ended up happening. I took Seamus with 3 Night Terrors, his avatar attached, Madame Sabelle, and 2 Rotten Bells, which gave me a 7 Soulstone cache. I had Stake a Claim on something that I ended up not getting, spoiler, and I had Breakthrough. Chris had Marcus with 2 Slurids, a Shikome, and a Mechanical Rider, which gave him a 7 Soulstone cache, I believe. My math is right. He had Power Ritual, and then Marcus's Specific Scheme, whatever that one's called, the one that no one ever gets ever, which isn't entirely true, but it's a tough one to do. Chris went back and forth a little bit on whether he should take the Slurids or if he should take Night Terrors. Night Terrors give you more activations. Slurids are a little bit quicker, maybe, because you can get 3 Slurids. I think his options were 2 Slurids or 3 Night Terrors plus the Jackalope. He ended up going with the 2 Slurids, which I think was a good idea, because Slurids are pretty good. They're actually very good. That's not entirely true. But the game was as followed. It was pretty good. We had a lot of fun with it. Turn 1 was basically just us moving up the board. Chris was able to get Marcus onto the neutral evidence marker turn 1. I moved up my Night Terrors after Chris had decided to have one of them as his prey, and I stupidly moved up the one that was his prey to, it was about 15 inches away from him, so he was able to get up to it and attack it. He got the book trigger, which was able to give it poison, so that and then he got severe damage off as well on top of that, so that meant the Night Terror was going to die on its next activation, which kind of sucked for me. You can see a picture of Marcus sitting triumphantly on top of the neutral evidence marker, and he did have a Jackalope in there somewhere, so maybe only had a 6 Soulstone cache, or maybe I'm just doing math poorly. It's probably that I'm doing math poorly. We have a bunch of these little coffins in the store now, which is really cool. Our friendly local game store owner, Ryan, picked up a bunch, which is pretty awesome, from Michael's, because they're on sale. But anyway, on one side of the board, we had the Shikome running down the board. Up the middle, we had Marcus with the 2 Slurids, and then, as you'll see here, we had the Mechanical Rider going down the other flank. So Chris had the board pretty well covered, whereas I really only had 2 groups of guys. I had my Night Terrors, and then I had Seamus and the Bells. Seamus can't really go off on his own. The Bells could go off on their own and do their thing, but Seamus really needs to have support from the models around him, so I couldn't just have him go off by himself, so it meant I was kind of seeding that side of the board. I was basically just giving him Power Ritual. I was planning on him just getting that, because there's not much I can do about it. The Mechanical Rider's just so damn fast, there's not much I can do about it. And I decided to try and take out more evidence with my Night Terrors. And that's something I thought about as the game went on. I think Chris might have made a mistake taking the Slurids, because the Night Terrors not only give you more activations, but it's just, frankly, more models that can activate the evidence markers. And you don't get that with the Slurids. What I ended up doing was just sitting my Bells on them. I had 1 Bell sitting on 1 evidence marker, and then I had another one sitting on the one of my deployment zone. And that meant he was just going to be able to get 1 of his. So it was, I think that was a pretty good idea. And then Seamus was sitting back to just try and stop it. So I basically sent off my Night Terrors by themselves, and the Shikome did its darndest to kill them off. It actually killed off 2 of them basically the same way. He got the poison trigger with severe damage, getting him down to 1, and then they'd take poison and then die, which was really unfortunate for me. Here you can see a shot of the center of the board where the Slurids were moving up. They were able to kill off one of my Bells. Basically, each turn they killed off a Bell, but killing off 1 Bell a turn against Seamus isn't quite enough. You need to do a little bit more damage as well to kind of put the pressure on him. As it was, I was able to just resummon the Bell. And actually it worked out fairly well for me, because one of those Bells I resummoned was on top of the evidence marker that Chris needed to get to with his Mechanical Rider, which was nice for me. It's especially difficult for Riders, because they have 2-inch melee ranges, and Bells are actually really good for it as well. You just keep the Bell sort of near the evidence marker, and it's going to be nearly impossible for a model to activate it without killing the Bell. And that's going to take a full activation in and of itself, generally. So Bells are really good for just sitting on evidence and slowing it down. So what ended up happening was the Mechanical Rider went over, killed off the Bell, and I had the Bell lure over Seamus, and then I think she killed her, and the Bell lured Seamus over again. And at this point in the turn, this is about turn 3 or so, Chris was pretty low on cards in his hand. I had 1 Crow in my hand, and the rest of my deck, I think, I'd only flipped like 2 or 3, and I had maybe 10 cards left in my deck, so I had a lot of Crows left. So what I did is I just walked over Seamus, got off a couple attacks, and Soulstoned each of them to make sure I got the Crows, and I was able to Slit Jugular. Chris actually cheated 1 turn to avoid the Slit Jugular, as opposed to discarding, which I guess makes sense. And then I was just able to Sludge Jugular the next turn, so I was able to take out the Mechanical Rider, which was a really big for me, because Mechanical Rider was running around taking care of the table corners for Power Ritual, so that was good for me to take it out, because he only gotten 3 at that point, and the last one was going to be really hard for him to get to. His Slurs were locked down pretty well by my Bells. My Bells were spread out as such that the 0 action from the Slurs couldn't really get them anywhere where they could then leap away. So that was pretty cool for me. And they moved around a lot, so they had to retake Sibel's Terrifying a lot. And one of them actually ended up failing one, which was pretty unfortunate for them. The Night Terrors are just amazing. Night Terrors, I'm always continually amazed at how amazing they are. There was an 8 Soulstone model sitting around trying to beat them up, and they just kept on pulling away and easily taking out evidence. I was able to get the evidence marker in his deployment zone, and then I was able to get another one, which was nearby. But I was stuck with the last one, as you'll see here. I got a Night Terror over to it, but the Shikome is fast enough, even without its prey ability, that it was able to keep up easily. So that one was just sitting there, which was not fun for me. While all this was going on, aSeamus had gotten off the face of death twice and was able to manifest, which meant that he had now a 3-inch melee range. It was going to make it even harder for Chris to engage with the evidence markers without engaging me. And he then would have to start dealing with the anathema from aSeamus. So I ended up bumping up aSeamus a little bit. Nothing actually ran away, but it's still something he has to worry about. Chris actually was able to alpha aSeamus, because I just forgot about it, didn't really think about it. And now that you can't be drained souls, I didn't really care. The worst thing he could do is attack Sibel for 5 damage, maybe. So he obeyed it and just had aSeamus walk away twice, which was fine, because I needed to have aSeamus go and deal with the Shikome. Not his most optimal move, but it's what I needed to get done. You can see the Bells just sitting on the evidence marker as it did the entire game, and Sibel was sitting in the middle of the board guarding another evidence marker. So they were pretty safe. I wasn't terribly worried. Marcus was going to have a hard time getting over there and killing off the Bells without having to deal with Sibel at the same time. So I was feeling pretty confident about that, which was nice. But at the same time, I was thinking I was down on points, even though I wasn't, because I forgot Chris got one of the evidence markers plus his neutral evidence marker, but he didn't get the one in his deployment zone, which is a big deal. So here you can see Marcus is no longer on the table. Marcus, I moved up one of my Bells to, I don't remember, do something relevant, and Marcus charged her and killed her. And Sibel then cast Shriek, which went off on a negative damage flip, hit the red Joker, and then hit a severe. So I did 12 to Marcus and one-shotted him. So the game turned pretty downhill pretty quickly for Chris. I think he had a Slurred left, maybe, oh no, the other Slurred ended up dying because I killed the other one. And the Shikome left. So basically the Shikome was trying to keep me from getting off of the win. I had 2 points, Chris had 2 points, so I just needed to kill off that Shikome and then activate my evidence marker. As it turned out, turn 5 ended up coming and going, and I got to where I was, as you can see there. Another walk action and a couple strikes later meant the Shikome was still alive. It flew over to the other side of the Night Terror and attacked it a couple times and killed it. It got poison on it, so it wouldn't be able to activate. I had actually bumped up aSeamus' Terrifying to 17 and then used Gorgon's Miasma in hopes that the Shikome would run away, but I forgot that it's willpower 6. The way it works out is aSeamus' Terrifying goes up to 17. You can use Gorgon's Miasma to give -2 to the willpower to all enemy models. So it's effectively a Terrifying 19, which is nice, but willpower 6 models can still pass that with a 13, which is not true. How did I do that math so poorly? I don't know. So yeah, that shouldn't have worked out. Well, that's good to know. My math is it's super awesome. yeah. So the Shikome should have run away because I wasn't thinking about it. And now the more I think about it, 19, 13, 6. Yeah, no, yeah, he can get on his 13, which he did. Yeah, he got the 13, which stopped it, and it didn't run away. So the Shikome just sat there, denying me my points there. So we ended up having a 2-2 draw, despite, as Chris saying, it didn't really feel like it because I killed off so much of his stuff, and he ended up not getting much. So basically the game ended up with me getting no points for my schemes. I got 2 points for the evidence marker in his deployment zone. He got 1 point for the neutral one, and then 1 point for power ritual. So it was a 2-2 draw. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope I'll have some more videos up soon because I've not had any up for a while. So see you guys next time.